Hey everyone, this is Paul, and you're listening to season 2, episode 17 of the Generation Latino podcast. Guys, I cannot believe that we are almost done with season 2 of the podcast. I still remember having a small little vision of what I wanted to do for my podcast and ideas, guests, and speakers, all of that. And to be here about to end season 2 is truly remarkable, and I am so thankful for that. I also want to just thank you for helping grow my audience. I know I'm looking at some analytics, and not that they matter to me personally, but it does mean a lot to see people from all over the world listening to my passion project and listening to the conversations that I have. So seeing people from Russia and the UK and all over the United States is truly remarkable. And I am extremely thankful for that. So I know I always say this, guys, but thank you so much. And again, if you like this podcast, please feel free to share it, like it. I'm on all streaming platforms. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, truly means the world. But guys, my next guest is a guest that I have been trying to get on my podcast for months. We had a couple of scheduling issues. We booked and rescheduled. She is a woman who has truly carved her own path. And after we ended the interview, I had such a fire in me because that's how much she inspired me to just keep going and not to give up and just continuing to create my own path so that I can live the life that I want to live. Her name is April Monterrosa. April is an award winning entrepreneur, author, speaker, business mentor, and she's the founder of Live from the Southside Magazine, the first ever woman owned publication in South San Antonio. April is a trailblazer. April is an all around badass. She was such a delight to talk to. I felt like I was talking to a sister. I felt like I was talking to someone who I just knew. But that's the beauty of someone who has beautiful energy. So, guys, I really hope you like this podcast episode because I loved it and I know you will. So, please, if you like this episode, share it with anyone who needs some motivation. I really hope you enjoy this episode. Building a Legacy from the South Side, a conversation with April Monterrosa. Hope you enjoy, guys. April, I want to thank you for being on the Generation Latino podcast. When I found you somewhere in my algorithm, you popped up, and I thought to myself, I need to know more about this woman. I need to know why she does what she does. And I was just very inspired by the work that you do. You are a entrepreneur, published author, speaker, business mentor, and the CEO and editor-in-chief of Live from the Southside. I wanted to talk to you about what it's like being a Latina in today's world. I want to talk to you about being from the South Side of San Antonio. If you can just explain what you do, who you are to my audience, and we'll go from there.
Well, first of all, Paul, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And hello, everyone. My name is April Monterrosa, and I'm the publisher of Live from the Southside Magazine. It is the first woman owned publication in South San Antonio. I'm also a published author. I have an adult book and a children's book. I am a speaker and a media personality. You can catch me on KLMO 98.9 FM and also on KSAT 12's Good Morning San Antonio and SA Live.
I knew you would say it better than I did. I mean, Oprah, sit down. April, what does being Latina mean to you?
You know what? I never really think about that. For me, it's just being a woman because I'm in so many different spaces. And I know that other Latinas are like, being a Latina is a superpower. And for me, I think growing up in a male dominant family and growing up in a very diverse family, diverse community. And now my business life, my professional life is very diverse. I'm just little old me. I don't really ever think about that, though I do know what I bring to the table. So it's more about that than being Latina.
That makes sense. And
Sure.
totally understand. As I was doing research on you, you are very vocal, you're ambitious, but why do you think it's more important than ever for Latinos and Latinas to use their voice today in 2025?
I think to make more room, no matter what industry it is, for other Latinos, to make it easier to pave the way for them. A lot of us that are a little more on the aggressive side, a little ambitious, unapologetic, we're making it a little easier for the younger generation to be in the spaces that we're in. So I think that's why it's important.
I would agree with you. And as I was reading through Life from the South Side, you are embedded in that culture. You are not just someone who just kind of is going in and just checking how they're doing. You are embedded in that culture. What drove you to be an ambassador for the South Side of San Antonio?
Ooh, an ambassador. I've never been called that. I think it comes from my upbringing. I grew up in a middle class neighborhood. It was an old Kelly Air Force Base community. So the majority of my neighbors, they either worked at Kelly or they were in the military or they
Mm.
owned businesses. And so growing up, we came from nice homes. Everyone had their own room. I mean, it was like the stuff you see on TV. We were just all Latino and it was on the South Side. But I saw my families helping the neighbors and the neighbors helping each other, helping at the church and giving back to the community, but still instilling morals and values in their own children and instilling education, financial literacy. So I saw that my whole life, but lived in an underrepresented, underserved community. And so for me, the ambassador part is being an example that you can get an education, you can break away from generational curses, because my parents both did from their families, and you can thrive in your own neighborhood. You don't have to move somewhere else, you can do it here.
At what age, though, did you realize as you're growing up in your house with your family, did you say, hey, this is different? My neighbor has a different family, or the people I go to school with. When did you realize at what age something was just different?
When I went from private school to public school, I had never experienced real life. I always say that. I didn't know siblings shared a bed or didn't have one.
Mm,
Dad's locked up, mom's on drugs. I never saw any of that ever. I knew it existed because my parents would keep us away from family that were like that. So, to me, it was like, well, yeah, I have family like that. But seeing it every day in your classmates, or them not having food, or wearing the same shoes all year with holes in them because grandma's raising them and they don't have parents. I mean, I I saw real life because in private school, it was the opposite. Even though my parents weren't extremely well off and they were young trying to make a living for themselves, we still went to private school and we still had nice things and vacations. And we knew that sometimes we need to cut back because dad's business is a little slow right now. But we still had all of those opportunities.
mm,
And so I think that had I not gone through that big life change, because it was extremely hard, I think I wouldn't be here because
mm.
those are the main readers. Those are my main supporters.
Is that a big misconception, April, that people think that they think that you had a lifestyle, the one that you're helping, that one that you're being a voice, you're giving a light to a community? Again, ambassador. You think people think like, oh, April grew up a certain way.
All the time. I all the time. And I didn't. And
Mm,
I'm very transparent about that. For me, it was more of seeing what my parents went through because I feel like I kind of grew up with them.
mm.
My mom had me when she was 21. They were married in high school, trying to make a living, getting away from the good, the bad, and the ugly of their
Yeah.
families. And so that's what I saw. And they would have open conversations with us about it. So I think all of this, it definitely comes and stems from childhood.
You obviously have empathy to want to be a voice. Who instilled the empathy? Was it mom, dad, both? Because although you were around the area, there's many people who are like, "Hey, I'll see you from the distance." Like hi, bye. I'll give my donation once a year. Let's be real. That's how a lot of people are. But you are like embedded in the South Side and in that culture. Who instilled the empathy? Because you need to have empathy in order to do what you do.
I've never been asked that. That's a very good question. Gosh, that is tough. It's funny when I give a lot of speeches, I always credit my dad. And I'm very blessed. I still have both my parents. But I always credit my dad. And I always say my mom showed me how to be graceful and look good doing it, right? My dad is the one that I'm extremely close to. We have man to man talks till this day. He was very hard on me, but he was very kind, very giving, very helpful. He still is very generous. But being that I'm in this community, I'm very big on helping those who help themselves. So you don't see me doing homeless initiatives, things like that. I stay away from. I want to help the middle class people that just need the extra help. The dreamer that has been in the dead end job and they really want to create their own brand or whatever. And you see them trying and saving and doing all the things. Those are the people that I want to help because I saw my family create this great life for themselves without mentorship. They were just winging it. And it wasn't until we were a little older and my dad's clients were wealthy white men that absolutely loved him, owned tens of thousands of properties. I really think they mentored him on financial literacy.
Wow.
And so I saw all that, but who does that for our underserved communities?
That's the $1 million question, right? I mean,
I mean, you can give all the coats and food and everything,
yeah.
but that doesn't change poverty. So I meet the people that, you know what, I don't want to live like this anymore. I saw my family live like this my whole life. Even if I just go get my cosmetology license or some kind of LVN certificate,
Mhm.
anything to have some kind of skill. Those are the people that I like to help.
So did you learn from seeing your dad or your dad telling you about it or both?
I think more of the example.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That is amazing to have that. And you know that because you share that with people. That
I
is a
Oh,
blessing.
absolutely. I meet people all the time that I can't even relate to some of the things that they've gone through with the lack of all of that. Because when you grow up without guidance and an open mind, a shoulder, an ear, all of that, it affects confidence. I mean, it just trickles down. I know because I saw
Yeah.
my parents break out of that themselves. I'm very big on that.
To see that in lifetime is pretty remarkable. But again, you being so aware that it's remarkable. That's the beauty in it. You weren't just like, oh yeah, it happened. You're like, I saw it. Now I want to do something. April, describe yourself in 3 words. 3 words that describe you.
My goodness, these are good questions. Resilient, ambitious, and fair.
Oh, that fair is a good one. I say diplomatic. I'm very diplomatic.
I do not put up with anything business wise. I will give you chances. I'm very understanding, but I'm fair. The sad story doesn't work. We all gotta do our part.
Thank you. And I agree a million times over. When did you first realize that you were meant to create change in the community that you help?
It was during COVID. I was being interviewed by Fox, and the anchor says, how does it feel to be the first Latina publisher in the South Side where everyone is now watching you?
Mm.
I laughed because I was like, what? Little did people know I had just shut down my business of 12 years, my spa business. I'm just trying to survive like everyone else. But that's when. And I laughed about it and I'm like, okay, I can use that.
Was it a nervous laugh? Was like what
It
made you
was a
laugh?
laugh like, what? That's crazy. It was that laugh. Yeah. It was like, you're silly. I guess because throughout my hospitality journey, and then when I got into owning my own business, I was still juggling both, right?
Mhm.
And what made me take the leap was one of my clients used to own a magazine here years ago. Now she lives in Iowa. She's one of my best friends. And I used to write a beauty column for her. And she's like, you really need to put yourself out there. Like, you're fun. People like to talk to you. And I'm like, no, I just want to write beauty tips, get clients, and that's it. And so it was the same thing with Life from the South Side. I just wanted to tell the stories.
Could you ever have imagined how big that audience has become?
No, I think I still very much underestimate everything that I've done. It's not imposter syndrome for me. I know I'm fully aware of what I've accomplished, but I feel like I have a long way to go. Like,
Mm.
okay, next.
It doesn't stop here is what you're saying.
It's funny how you mentioned Oprah. Some of my friends call me April Winfrey.
I can see it. Do you think people it's a two-part question. Do you think people underestimate the South Side of San Antonio?
Oh, for sure.
Why do you think they underestimate the South Side of San Antonio?
Because it wasn't polished. And there's areas that are falling apart. Our community keeps it real. They're not trying to impress people. And that's not traditional. Let's be real. It's not. The traditional, professional, whatever you want to call it, is you're fake. And I think that our community is not. When I go and speak to other parts of town's kids, they're embarrassed of their parents and they're dropping them off in Mercedes.
Yeah.
The South Side's not. Grandma, Theo, they're all there. They're happy and excited. They're being supported.
Yeah.
Just it's just different.
It is, and I would agree with you. Being from there and breaking the mold and going into higher ed, I never want to lose sight of where I've come from and the people that have helped me get there. It's not a one-man show. How do you stay grounded?
I've always been.
Mm,
I am fully aware of who I am, what I like, what I don't. I was like that as a kid. I think that comes from helping my dad's business. I would help him. I would have to talk to people. It's funny. I jokingly tell my parents that whenever I walk on stage, I hear my dad saying, "Speak up! I can't hear you."
say it from your chest, you know?
Yeah, that's funny.
So you're busy. What's a small joy that grounds you when you are busy? When you have those busy days, what joy in your life grounds you?
It's funny. I look busy. I'm
Mm,
very strategic about where I spend my time. It has to make sense and it has to be something I absolutely love. That's the beauty of what I've built. And I can call the shots. I can say no. If people want to meet with me, it better be important because I don't see my family all the time. Or I get to bring my family, or I don't go. It's like that for me. But I think the biggest joy is when I get to either bring my family to some really cool event and they
oh,
get to experience the red carpet and the whole VIP treatment, or my youth writers. I've been doing that with my youth writers. I have some from Fox Tech, some from Somerset Academy, and they've been able to go to Six Flags, SeaWorld, and they get to experience media events. So it's that for me, being able to provide opportunities, experiences for people that would probably never get to do that or never have. It's that for me.
seems like you like to share the wealth. So you spoke a lot about your childhood and your dad and your mom and growing up. If your younger self could see you right now, what would they say? What would she say?
I don't know. My younger self was wild, man. I think I always knew that I was going to be my own boss. I always knew I
Mm,
was going to be a writer. My mom, we have this joke where she's like, man, I don't know what the heck happened to you because most girls play with Barbies and they get married and they have families, and all of your Barbies had bobs and they had businesses and briefcases and black nails.
I love that though. It's interesting because you talk about the business part of you. You're a natural entrepreneur. Is that your dad and mom just seeing them as a young girl? Is that what ignited the entrepreneur part of you?
I think so. I like that my dad, when he reached the level he really wanted to be at, life was great
Mm,
and he was available. And I liked the freedom of that. And I remember things he would share when he was in corporate America. And then I experienced that. And he would tell me, you're always going to put up with that when you work for someone
Oof.
because it's not yours. And it's funny because that piece of advice has always stuck with me now because when I started Live from the South Side, a lot of really well known community leaders didn't support me. They thought I was just being a social media influencer playing around. I don't know what they thought. I'm like, yeah, okay, call me what you want, but I'm sitting
Wow.
at a $30,000 table.
How liberating is that for you? As a woman, how liberating is it for you to have that type of autonomy?
You know what? I don't even feel like it's liberating because it's just part of my life. I could never go back. Like, I don't even know what that's like anymore. It's a tool now for
Mm.
me to open up doors and opportunities for other people.
Can you share a moment when you realized your voice had power?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Gosh, that's really tough to answer. I've won quite a few awards, but I think the biggest one for me was my Texas Legislative Award.
I saw that.
And I have a presidential award and one from city council, and I just got one from Bear County. But I think it's the Texas legislative one because it was given to me by another Southsider who's a state representative. I think that one was the big one for me because another Latina from my community sitting in a very powerful seat, acknowledging me in my state, but also acknowledging the influence I had on my stepchildren to write a book and open up a business in elementary and middle school. So for me, it's more of those personal milestones than the success or the media presence or even the money. I wasn't even making anything in the beginning. I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do and I wanted to help out my community and tell the good stories. I always believe that the money comes when you do things from the heart. And so that recognition, I think that's probably the most powerful one for me.
That's a good one. How valuable is storytelling to you?
Extremely important to me and very valuable because you never know who you're going to inspire, who you're going to motivate, and who you're going to encourage. You never know.
I agree. And you never know who's listening. You never know where they're listening, what platform they're listening on. Again, I run into you by just scrolling somewhere. And this is how we're where we're at. But as an entrepreneur, you obviously have a passion for leadership and you have a passion for leading the tribe. What challenges have shaped the leader that you are today?
Ooh, my own community, women in my community in high positions who are leaders or who were recognized as leaders, not being supportive and not
Oof.
taking me seriously. That was extremely motivating for me.
How did you take that in real time?
You know, it's funny because most women would have probably cried or been hurt by being disrespected, not taken seriously, not included, not
Mm.
invited when you have all the boxes checked, but because you ask questions or because you're loud or you're not going to be fake or be like everyone else on the table, you don't get included or invited. And it sucks that sometimes those spaces are freaking gold for an entrepreneur because they work for corporate. They're getting paid. So I'm like, okay, let me start making more friends. And so
Mm.
that's what I did. I just kept networking, kept reaching out, kept putting myself out there. And eventually you're taken seriously because you're being noticed for the changes that you're making in your community.
So how do you feel now when you see those people that denied you and now you're literally at the table? How does that feel for you now as, someone who's fully who they want to be and unapologetically you? How does that feel for you?
I don't feel anything. A lot of them are clients.
It's so interesting because you talk about, going and crying maybe for not being accepted or not being good enough. What do you tell someone when they have been rejected and don't feel like they have a place somewhere when they know deep inside that they belong there? What would you tell someone, a younger woman or a young boy, like, what would you tell someone? How would you help them?
I just tell them what I did.
Mm.
Then they're not for you. That space is not for you. So go and do your own thing.
Did you know you were creating your own path, or you were just doing it and it happened to be that you were creating your own path? Was that intentional?
No, it wasn't intentional. I just knew I didn't want to be like everyone else,
So by default, you created your own path.
pretty much. So I tell people that all the time. Then do your own thing. I had this conversation today with one of my Latina leadership sisters. You know, she's creating her own brand. She's actually getting her PhD. She has a business and a nonprofit, and she's in all these things, but she's still at a point where she has a job. She's like, I don't understand how all these women that we know in powerful positions don't support me. And I said, who cares?
Oof.
I told her, look where we're sitting. Because we were at an event today.
Mhm.
And we're sitting with all the superintendents of all the schools. I said, where are they? You're my guest. Who cares? Because everything that you're doing and you're building is yours. You're just not there yet. So keep working at it and tune out the noise. Tune out the noise. Because all those women that you're so worried about them supporting you, they work for someone. This is yours. So I tell people that all the time. If people treat you that way or don't invite you, or who cares? Keep going. Do your own thing. Create your own thing.
Where did you learn your patience from?
Oh, I don't have any.
Because you're like you seem so patient. I'm like, man, April is
No,
just like,
you know what? I'm not patient. I'm very chill, but
mm.
patient, no. I'm not patient.
How has your cultural identity influenced your path?
Gosh, that's tough because my family's so diverse.
Mm.
So we didn't grow up the traditional Mexican way
Mhm.
at all. We saw it in some of my family. The family that I really grew up with, my grandma was half Spaniard and half German. She was red hair, blue eyed, my great grandmother. And I was
Oh.
close to her. She was 4'11" and was a rancher. She was a baddie. She would she would say whatever she wanted. No one said a thing to her. She was scary. I was close to her. You know, I think that was really hard for me when I was in Latina Leadership Institute because a lot of them came from immigrant parents, very, very Mexican traditional. And I couldn't relate to that. Not that I'm not proud of my roots or anything like that. It's just I come from a very diverse family.
It's not your story.
It's not. And I'm fine with that.
So, April, in preparation, I was doing some research and I was on some of your handles, but you tweeted something in May 15th, 2023. I'm going to read the tweet and I'm going to ask the next question, but I was very inspired by this tweet and it just really struck a chord with me, and then I'll have you explain the tweet. So, it's May 15th, 2023. I will never forget the day I was sitting in the dark, broke and heartbroken, thinking, what now? Now I get to MC a global summit coming to San Antonio with some of the most influential people I know. No matter how bad it is, don't give up. That's powerful.
Thank you.
What influenced not just that tweet, but was there ever a moment you almost gave up, and what kept you going?
That tweet, I think it was the time frame was a reminder of a really bad situation I went through. I had an extremely wonderful childhood considering everything my parents went through. They made sure that they were different than their families. And so I was never without anything. But in my adult life, I experienced a lot of loss and a lot of heartache. I think because of everything that I've been through in my childhood, the good stuff, right? I've given so many chances to people and been understanding and always want to fix things and make things better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've gone through a lot of loss in my life from being divorced, My first love got someone pregnant. I lost someone to suicide who I thought I was going to marry. And then my second ex husband wiped me out financially. I had just left my corporate job to start my spa business because he was going to have my back.
Mm.
Found out he was cheating, packed up all his stuff, changed my locks, kicked him out. And I forgot one important thing, to take money out of the bank. And so it was in summer, it was in May, and I literally could not tell my family because I was embarrassed that I know better. I'm smarter than that. I tell women this, I tell my stepdaughters all the time, women need to have money because you never know. You never know what kind of situation you're going to be in and you need to get out of it. And it takes money to get out of shit. It does. And so I was taught that. And I, being in love and chances, and, I'm sure you've gone through that. I wasn't thinking. And
Mm.
I was like, man, how am I going to tell my family this? And then they shut my lights off. I could have. I could have gone a completely different route, but I think for me, I was angry at myself. Everything I've learned in my life, I knew better. And so I'm like, no, I'm not a dummy. I just effed up.
Mm.
And I don't want my family to know that I'm going through this. And so I literally sat in the dark with no electricity and I wrote my first book. And so when Latin Talks came, I don't know how they came across my stuff and they were following my journey. And it wasn't even a fraction of what it is now.
Mhm.
They said, we want you to MC this event. Everything just kind of hit me and made me think of that day that I could have went out and drank with friends. I could have just said, you know what, mom and dad, I was dumb and let all my money go. And can I move back with you? I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do at that time,
Mhm.
but I didn't. That's how my studio happened too, because I had a little crock pot with my hot towels for facials and my little massage table and friends, and I guess the perks of being wild and friendly. I had clients that would come to my house, and then I built up my business, wrote my book. My friend Lisa, who's one of my mentors and one of my best friends that I used to write for, guided me to publish the first book. She's like, if you don't have the money, I'll buy all your author copies and let's get you a book signing, girl. Let's make some money. And that's
Wow.
what happened. And here I am.
I know. And do you remember that tweet? Do you remember tweeting that?
I do.
Okay. April, a lot of people say don't give up, but to say it and do it are two different things. A lot of people say don't give up and they do something completely different.
I met a woman in my hospitality journey. She was one of my bosses, and I used to run her laser clinic. Did a laser hair removal clinic. And she did extremely well for herself, and she spoiled her daughters rotten, where she got sick and the daughters would come and want to empty the register. And she's like, I don't trust my kids. I trust you. Please hold my place together. Please don't let my daughters wipe me out. And I didn't. And oh my God, that was drama because they would try to fight with me. And I'm like, no. Her name was Laura. And Laura, when I went through my first divorce, I was living in an apartment that I couldn't afford because I wanted to be bougie and I was young, and you have to learn the hard way, right?
You sure do.
She gave me this piece of advice because I'm like, I don't really want to go back home. Like I like my freedom and I like having my own stuff. And my dad told me, you want to be married and you think you're grown. Well, if it doesn't work out, you're on your own. So tough love. And so
Yeah.
I had a really hard time being there when I was going through all of that. The first time. And so she gave me this piece of advice that I actually share with every person that goes through something hard. She told me, whenever you feel like crap, force yourself to get up, get all fixed up, and try something new, or go walk around somewhere. Go visit a friend you haven't seen. Just do something. And the day that you feel great and feel good, enjoy your home in peace. Because if you do it the other way around, you're going to drive yourself crazy. You're just going to be in bed crying, all the things. So force yourself to get up. And I still do that to this day. If I'm having a hard time with something personal, or you'll see me on the stage and smiling and all decked out, and you wouldn't even know it.
Yeah. That's great advice that she gave you, by the way. That's great advice. So, April, you mentor, you inspire a lot of women, but who were the women who inspired you when doors were closed and not much opportunity? Are there any women that stand out? I know you brought up your friend right now, but are there any women that inspired you when things were a little rough?
My mother,
Mm,
um, her mother wasn't great to her, and she's the only one that led a successful life and had a great life. She still smiled. She still held it together. She still looked good. My mama looks good all the time. I was not girly growing up. I was a big tomboy, so it just melts her heart when she sees me in a dress now. But I think it was her. She's gone through a lot in her life, and she never let it depress her. She never stopped shining. She never stopped being graceful, being a lady, being a good mother, being a good wife. So it would be that for me.
we briefly talked about this, but how do you navigate spaces where you might be the only one?
I don't really think about it anymore.
Mm,
I'm just there to do what I need to do and connect with who I need to connect with to build relationships. And then I can bring my community in.
mm.
So that's not even my focus. My focus is to make sure that I solidify relationships. That's it.
So, what does representation mean to you personally then?
I think it's more than being Latina. I think it's bringing underserved, underrepresented community into those spaces. So I love hearing, I'm from the east side, I'm from the west side, I'm from the south side, and we're in the Dominion. I love that. So it's more of that for me, not so much race, I guess.
I agree. But what made you so aware of that? Because not everyone thinks like that. You're able to like see everything aerial view, big picture. Were you always seeing things like that?
I think so because when my father's business really started to do well, he was in the contracting industry. He was invited to tables and um networks where they were primarily white.
Mm.
And he's very morenito. He didn't care. He never let that bother him. If anything, I think that's why he taught us all the things he taught us. So I think that's where that comes from. Like I'm in these rooms. Let me learn from the white man, and then let me teach my kids.
That and let me learn and do better a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And like let me learn and do better. It's interesting that because a lot of kids growing up don't take a lot from their parents. They really they want to separate so far from them sometimes.
Yes.
At what age were you able to appreciate the advice your mom and dad were giving or just living? At what age were you like, wow, I'm really learning something valuable here?
Gosh, I think as far as appreciating it, in my 30s,
Mm.
when I finally grew up. It took
Because
that long.
I mean, you're only 32, April, whatever.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, but No, because and I say that because you're so aware of what your parents taught you. Like, you are so aware, and you bring up your father and mom a lot, and you bring
I
them
think
up because
I've just
you're
always been aware because that was just what was instilled in us. And we saw the difference of not working hard, not having accountability, structure, guidance in our other families. So, like, it's kind of like when you meet people that come from certain backgrounds or certain generational curses, right? They don't know any better. Well, that's like us. We don't know any better. It's just the other way. All the other things
yeah.
that's what we were taught. And so I think my parents, because they're very vocal, both of them, they would talk to us. They would have very hard conversations with us. If me and my brothers had a disagreement, we would literally sit there and they would want to hear our side of the story and then we'd figure out the resolution. So while they're teaching us those types of things, they're also explaining the lack of in other family members and other things that were going on. So I think that's how we just knew.
Yeah. So, April, you give a lot of speeches, you're at a lot of events, you're in a lot of spaces. So, when you're giving these speeches and talking to other Latinas and women, what message do you hope that they take away when you are in front of them?
The biggest message that I hope they take away from me is to always be their authentic self, no matter what that is, because that's liberating. And I think being Latina, especially in higher education or in corporate America, women feel like they have to be a certain way or look a certain way, and they don't. I think a lot of it is that's what's been taught. And I think nowadays, you don't. I think you're more powerful when you're just yourself and not care what anybody thinks. So that's the biggest message that, and I talk to all kinds of ages. That's the biggest message for me. Make good choices, be yourself, and watch who you surround yourself with because friends are positive. They're going to encourage you. They're not going to put you down. They're not going to be passive aggressive. They're not going to be negative. And so just those things. Just keep being yourself and follow all those little things and you're gold. And you get to live in peace because that's very peaceful. I see a lot of people in all the circles that I'm in. They want to be like someone, or they want to be someone so bad, especially with social media now. They need this acknowledgement or recognition, or what is the word?
Validation?
Validation. That's the word. And for what? It is bullshit.
Well said. You mentioned authenticity. April, why is it so hard? Why is authenticity so hard for people?
Because they worry about what other people are going to say or think. That's why.
It's funny. I think people chase a lot of things. Like you mentioned that they're just chasing something. They're just chasing. It's like you're on a hamster wheel that's never stopping. But authenticity is, I think people overlook it quite often. How do you, April Monterrosa, not get caught up in the fluff of what life could be?
Because fluff isn't real.
You know that.
It's not. And fluff doesn't make you money.
When did you realize that though, April? That when did you you said that so confidently, like you don't fuck around, but when did you realize that?
I think I've just always known that.
Mm.
Again, it comes from my upbringing.
So, April, I have three more questions. What kind of impact do you hope to leave behind?
Gosh, I don't, you know what? That changes for me all the time. I think the biggest impact is to thrive in your South San Antonio community. I think it's that, in whatever that is, in a positive way. I hope that other people, Latinos, Black, white, I don't care who it is, that grew up in this neighborhood or these neighborhoods, see that they can be and do whatever they want, live well, and still here on the South Side.
If you could give one piece of advice to young Latinos and Latinas chasing their dreams, what would it be?
Ignore the noise and listen to your intuition. That's one thing. Your gut does not lie, and energy doesn't lie.
Oh, people also don't talk about energy enough.
Oh,
Like
that's real.
the power of energy. It's
I
powerful.
tell my stepchildren, they're in high school and they're now, they have social lives now, right? So they go with friends, and I tell them, if you feel a certain way, I will go get you. Listen to that. Listen to your gut. And they're pretty good with that.
I really hope this interview could let you know how passionate I am about storytelling myself and about representation and how much it means to me. But thank you so much. I know we had some hiccups getting together, but I was determined to chat with you. I was not gonna give up. You are such an inspiration, and you know that. You were a delight to talk to on and off record. Like, you were just a pleasure, and I had a feeling that you would be. So I honestly felt like I was gonna be talking to a sister, a tia. Like, I honestly felt that in the minute we started chatting, I got that from you. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. This interview, I've been interviewed quite a bit now. You asked me some first time questions. A lot of them really, really made me think about how far I've come. And, being unapologetic and being transparent really does connect with people. So thank you for reminding me about that.
April, so what's next for you on this journey of life?
You know, I don't know. I have just kind of, I think of these crazy ideas, I execute them, and then till the next one comes. My biggest goal is to be the Latina Oprah and to be able to nationally highlight underrepresented neighborhoods. Nobody does that.
I think you're headed in that direction. You are. I'm telling you this. You are. And I'm just thankful that you were able to sprinkle some of your fairy dust onto my podcast. Truly. But from the bottom of my heart, April, thank you so much for being on the Generation Latino podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.